Today we're going to talk about the 13 colonies of America. After the early explorers came to the New World, it was time for people to start moving over here and creating lives, building farms, bringing over livestock, and creating colonies. So in this film, we will be talking about the 13 colonies in North America. As more and more people came to the New World, settlements called colonies were established. Life in each colony was affected by the climate, geography, and people who settled there. The colonies were divided into 3 regions: the New England colonies, the Mid-Atlantic colonies, and the Southern colonies. The New England colonies were in the northern part, the Mid-Atlantic were in the middle, and the Southern colonies were in the south. The New England colonies consisted of Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and New Hampshire. They had the Appalachian Mountains and the Boston Harbor there. The land was hilly and super rocky, so nobody could really farm. The coastline was very steep and jagged from the mountains. The winters were extremely long and harsh, and many people died because of the cold. Summers were mild. They were warm and not too hot. The New England colonies had access to a great coastline, which provided several jobs that involved fishing. Fishing opened the door for other economic opportunities. Since fishermen needed ships, then people could build ships and become one of the most important jobs in New England. Good harbors, fishing, and shipbuilding opportunities paved the way for port cities to grow in this region. The people who were coming to the New England colonies were often seeking religious freedom. They were known as Puritans or Pilgrims, and they settled here. Many of their social gatherings were held at church, and they held town meetings to discuss political issues. Most of the time when we think about these people, we think about the people who celebrated the first Thanksgiving. The next region was the Mid-Atlantic. That it consisted of New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. It had the Appalachian Mountains, coastal lowlands, great harbors, and rivers. The land was super fertile, so that made it perfect for farming. Fertile means that the land had lots of vitamins and nutrients in it. The climate was moderate, so winters were cold and summers were warm. Fertile soil in the Mid-Atlantic region made the area perfect for farming, so that was one of the main jobs. Colonists in this area grew enough crops to sell to other regions and countries. They grew many types of grains like corn, rye, and wheat for trade. The rich soil and climate also made the area great for raising livestock. Corn and grains were also grown to feed the animals. Good harbors and coastal areas also provided this region with valuable fishing opportunities, so their jobs were farming, ranching, and fishermen. The people who settled in the Mid-Atlantic colonies came from several different countries. They had many different cultures and different religions, and they were just from all over. Political matters were often settled in large towns where most of the people lived. But like I said, this was super diverse and cultural. Lastly is the Southern colonies. The Southern colonies consisted of Maryland, Virginia, North and South Carolina, and Georgia. They had the Appalachian Mountains and hilly Piedmont, their Atlantic coastal plains, rivers, and good harbors for fishing. The climate was warm and humid. Winters were cool, but not too cold. The climate made the region perfect for farming. The warm and humid climate and super rich soil made the southern region great for growing crops. Agriculture was very important in the southern colonies. They grew cotton, tobacco, rice, sugarcane, and indigo for trade. This provided a lot of jobs for farmers, people who could help the farmers, but it also brought in slaves. Forests provided the region with another valuable resource, wood. The wood was used for building materials and manufacturing other items like wagons and boats, as well as wheels and tools. Many colonists lived in the South on farms. They had very large farms, and these farms were called plantations. Large plantation owners had indentured servants and slaves that took care of most of the work. An indentured servant is someone who is brought to America by a large landowner. The landowner paid for their way to America. In order for them to do that, the person promised that they would work for the farmer. Church was huge in the South, and that is why many of their social gatherings were at church. The next few pictures I'm going to show you are review questions over what you just learned. On the back of your graphic organizer, please write down which answers you think they are. We will review the answers tomorrow in class, so do not lose these papers.